Good fine afternoon, fellow YouTubers. Chilling like an old school rock star villain on a early Saturday afternoon. Two things. If you just saw my last video, I made some dank ass pizza. I think next time I go to make something like that, a little less seasoning. Other than that, it tasted pretty fine. Yeah. Second thing I'm gonna say, don't be in a hurry to grow up. You know what I'm saying? Like, enjoy being a kid while you still can. Because, you know, that shit ain't gonna last forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're a kid, you're allowed to color outside the lines, I guess, depending on how strict of a household you live in. Ooh, but, you know what I'm saying? But when you're an adult, you have a lot more responsibilities. Granted, yes, you do have a lot more freedom, but that's not necessarily always a good thing. I mean, it does come with some responsibility. Now, my last 3 wands that I had on Etsy sold out, so I'll be getting those shipped off on Monday. But we're always telling kids not to bully each other, to use nice words. But how far does that go as an adult telling a kid to be nice and not bully each other, right? And then not even 10 minutes later, hypothetical, if you will, right after you get done telling your kid to be nice to one another, you get into a little fender bender with someone else, and it escalates into a road rage incident. Now your kid's in the car, they can't hear what you're saying, but they can definitely tell that you two are in a heated exchange. You're both, you know what I'm saying, yelling at each other, and not all men are complete pigs, but at the same time, I had to remake this video because for some odd reason it wouldn't upload. Yeah. Maybe I thought it was too long and deleted it, I have a number of reasons for deleting my videos. So for those of you who ordered wands off of Etsy just recently, they'll be in the mail here shortly, like on the 5th. Yeah. No, some things are just worth the wait, you know what I'm saying? The longer you have to wait for them, you know. So enjoy being a kid, because I guarantee you that when you're an adult, you'll want to be a kid again. And, that's just the funny thing about life, YouTube. That is just the funniest thing about life. Is kids are in such a rush to grow up, and adults wish they could be kids again. Shit. You know. Getting older shouldn't be scary. It just means you might have to take on more responsibilities. Nothing wrong with that. I woke up this morning and my internet box went from the windowsill and landed on my foot. That felt amazing. And then the screw pops out of my chair, so I'm like, well, put the screw back in and get over it, I guess. That's all you can do. Yeah, normally that shit would piss me off, but yeah. I'm trying to work on my freaking temper and not like flip out over little shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Which it's not easy when you're conditioned to flip out over stupid shit, but yeah. And that's the thing of it too is if I want a girlfriend, I gotta work on my temper, plain and simple. You know, girls are not gonna want to date somebody if they're seen on YouTube flipping out of some spray paint. You know, it's just the reality of life. You know, and kids think they have it hard, but they don't. If they're raised in a household that loves them, they don't have it hard. You know? But even at a young age, kids understand the concept of hypocrisy, even if they don't know what it means. You know, it's so funny when adults tell their children to watch their language, you shouldn't cuss, but then adults are watching football on Sunday and their team's losing, so they start cussing out the ref, and it's like. And then of course you hear the age-old argument. Well, how come you get to cuss and I can't? And then you hear because I'm the adult, and then you hear a kid say that's not fair. Uh, you know, and that's the funny thing of it too is kids don't realize how unfair life can be. You know, when they're sitting there saying, "Well, mommy and daddy can cuss, but I can't." That's not fair. That's life, kiddo. You know what I'm saying? You may not like it, but you got to get used to it. You know, life is not exactly easy, and nor is it fair. You know. And my theory as to why life can be difficult sometimes is it makes the gratification of achieving your goals more satisfactory, you know. Would you appreciate being able to ride a bike if you didn't have to struggle to learn how to do it? And the answer is no. I think not. I think part of life and growing up is when you learn something, you don't just learn it overnight. You have to actually work for it. It teaches human beings a simple work ethic, you know, and so it's the beginning of summer, and you just got a bike, you saved up money, you know, and you want to learn how to ride because all your friends are learning how to ride a bike, and riding a bike can be fun, but you want to wear a helmet when you do that. And riding a bike is cool, but not as cool as riding a helmet. Wearing a helmet while riding, yeah. Ugh. So you spend all summer falling up, getting back down, scraping your knee, wanting to give up, wanting to rage quit. You know, kids are very similar to adults in that when things aren't going their way, it becomes apparently frustrating. You know, adults are no different with that. You know, sometimes when we're working on stuff, like case in point, this chair. You know, when I was working on this chair earlier, or a couple days ago, there was a couple of moments where I was just like, you gotta be flipping kidding me. But I stuck it out and a little bit of problem solving, you know what I'm saying? That's all it is. Basic problem solving. You know, sometimes you figure out, you know, hey, this doesn't go on here, you know, take it apart, put it back together, you know. It happens. You know, but, you know, my point being is once I got the chair put together, now I have a comfortable chair to sit in. Once you learn how to ride your bike, and then you want to go to the park with your friends, you ride your bike with them, and yeah, it's just that simple, YouTube. And it goes from learning how to ride a bike to learning how to drive a car, which I'm very capable of driving. I've done it before. I just need to study for my driver's license. But being reasonable and understanding enough to go, yeah, a car would be nice, but I can't afford it. You know, I can afford taking the driver's license and getting all that done, but if you can't afford to drive a car, then why bother getting your driver's license? You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, if you have to make use of public transport or a decent bike or your feet, it's better than nothing. People will look down their nose at you if you have a certain job or a certain economic status, and that's why people just need to knock their shit off, dude. Like, for real. If someone's kid is acting up in the store, don't stop and stare at them. It's just rude. Because it's like your kid acts up, people stare at you and your kid for your kid being a kid and acting up. And then as soon as you say something to the people who are being rude, they call you rude. And it's like, okay, how does that work? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just the problem with society anymore. Parents put way too much pressure on their kids because society puts too much pressure on parents. And it's stupid. Society puts way too much pressure on our bodies and how we're supposed to look, and you got to be happy with what you got. You know what I'm saying? You know, Women need to stop slut shaming each other, and men need to stop comparing themselves to other men. It's just that simple. But I understand to some degree. You're watching some action-packed movie, and there's a couple of chicks sitting in front of you, and the main hero is all ripped as shit, and all the chicks are making comments about how good he looks, and you're some dude sitting in the back behind them, and then it makes you feel self-conscious. You look down at yourself, and you're just like, ugh. And then some part of you inside your head says, well, I bet if I look like that guy on the big screen, well, I bet I'd get more chicks. And then you feel like shit, you know. So women think they're the only ones that deal with that shit. No, they're not. You know. And instead of comparing yourself to what someone else has, be happy with what you got. You know what I'm saying? And if you're jealous that someone's more ripped than you, well, you can fix that. you can fix that, YouTube. Work out. Instead of hating on somebody because they have a car or they have muscles, work for it. You know, the time you spend hating on somebody for being more muscular or having a car or having a girlfriend, that's time that you spend hating on them for the things you don't have. That's time you could be spending getting those things. You know, I know you shouldn't brag about how many girls you've been with. It's sleazy. But for me, it's a personal accomplishment because I have Asperger's. You know, when I brag about that shit, I'm not trying to be sleazy. For me, it's saying despite autism, I can still get it. You know, which is supposed to be inspiring in its own special way. But if I'm off on social media talking about how I've done it with like 7 chicks, it can be taken out of context. Yeah. And that's just the problem with society anymore, is anything and everything you do can be taken out of context. You know? I encourage anybody who rides a bike to wear a helmet, whether it's motorized or not. You got a skateboard, you got a scooter, you got a bike, wear a helmet. And you're gonna get a lot of hate from people, you know. Anybody who has the courage to say, I'm not gonna be jealous of so and so's such and such's thing or whatever they do. If I want it bad enough, I'll work for it or wait patiently. You know? That's the thing about life. If you want it bad enough, you have to either wait patiently or work for it. You know? And some things are just worth the wait. When it comes to things like dating, the longer you have to wait, the better it's gonna feel. You know? You see a lot of beta males who constantly have to prove themselves. They constantly have to get laid. Whereas an alpha male can wait patiently for better quality or a better person. You know. Just because you're out getting it doesn't necessarily mean the person you're getting it on with is compatible. Beta males just, they gotta get it, you know. They treat it like it's a drinking contest. And, nah, dude. A gentleman, a scholar, and an alpha male will wait patiently for the right time to pursue romantic interests. You know, cobras do not waste their venom in the wild. They strictly save it for when they need it. Now, metaphorically speaking, you apply a cobra's venom to your time, your effort, your energy. Why waste that? Why waste your time hating on somebody because they have muscles and a girlfriend that you don't have? Why spend energy complaining about things you can't change? Like, I can't change sexist double standards, but I can sure as hell bitch about them. It's not my fault that society has completely sexualized the female form, that society puts way too much pressure on women. If I had my way, I would change that shit so that men and women had an equal share of it. But even if men and women are not treated equal by society, they're still held to some sort of equal standard. And that equal standard is sexist double standards. You know, even if it comes in different forms. Men can walk around with their shirts off, but women can't. The fuck is that? Men can be gross, disgusting, covered in mud, dirt underneath their fingernails. You know, because men, according to society, men are gross, hairy animals. According to society. So that's why that standard exists. Now, if a man gets an adult toy, wink wink, he's called a pervert. But if a woman does it, well, some women just have their needs, you know. What the fuck is that, dude? Come on. The fact that men and women get paid different wages for the same freaking job, it's like, are you kidding me with this shit? You know, and this is the thing that men need to realize. Men of power need to realize that you're setting your fellow sex up for ridicule and judgment when you treat the opposite sex like shit. I don't care how much of a bitch she's being. I don't care. Don't care. I don't care how mean she's being. As soon as you respond to her bullshit, I guarantee you her first response is, "Oh, see, you're just a typical male. Blah, 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 blah." And it doesn't do you any good, you know what I'm saying? Because that is her go-to. As soon as she sees that her bullshit is pissing you off, that's when she's like, Tango 1, going for the kill shot. Gonna throw in a sexist remark about males, and and what does that do? That causes you to respond to her bullshit even more. And then that just continues the fight. It doesn't do you any good, does it? No, it doesn't. Yeah. And why 9 times out of 10 a woman will win the argument is because women are more emotionally driven than men. Men are more physical. Usually when men have a problem with each other, they beat the shit out of it, right? I mean, think about this. When men have a problem with each other, they arm wrestle, they punch each other, you know, they get into a drinking contest, some sort of, I gotta show them that I have a bigger dick without actually whipping it out, you know? Metaphorically speaking, is how it is, you know? Men gotta be like, I gotta show them that I'm more, you know? And it's completely unfair that men are told to toughen up, don't be a pussy, suck it up. Oh, did you get a cut? Rub some dirt in it, you crybaby. Quit being a crybaby. And then women are told, well, you gotta be tougher than men. You know, and it just creates this society where men and women are doubting each other's bodies. They have low self-esteem because society puts way too much pressure on people and the way they look and their social status and where they come from. When you look at how short life is, none of that shit matters. When you look at how short life is, none of that shit matters. You don't need a cell phone to be happy in life, although it makes communication easier, and that's about the only thing it does. Is there a cost for telling it like it is? Oh no. Telling it like it is don't cost a single cent. Maybe cost 2 cents, because that's my 2 cents on the whole issue. I like how I put that. Now, if you dig yourself into a hole, dig yourself out of it. Don't spend your life in debt with a crippling feeling of, ugh. One of the biggest complaints a lot of people have is there's never enough money in their life. One of the biggest complaints people have is, I don't make enough money. Okay? Well, that's an easy enough fix. You don't like the way you look, you don't make enough money, you can change it. You know? But sometimes you just gotta be happy with what you got. You know? Being a kid is very easy compared to being an adult. I'm just saying. You brush your teeth, go to bed when you're supposed to, eat your vegetables, and go to school and get an education, you know. I mean, we all know the school system is complete bullshit, but you put up with it and you get through it and achieve the best you can, so that when you get out of high school, you can get a job and you can get a house and be your own adult. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But you know what's funny about life? These assholes who are making fun of poor kids in school end up becoming broke-ass adults when they're older. Oh yeah. You made fun of that kid, and you made fun of that. Seriously, you as a person making fun of that kid in school for being poor, and then you grow up to be a broke ass adult yourself. Funny how life works, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I cracked both windows open. Think to myself, okay, what can I do for a video to follow up that pizza video, you know? And in the process of opening both windows, my internet box falls on my toe. It didn't break and the internet still works, so silver lining. Then the screw in my chair popped out, so I'm like, well, that's why I'm glad I kept the Allen wrench. Ah. So if you get a chair or something that requires some basic assembly, and if the thing you're assembling comes with tools, keep those tools with you just in case you need to make a small or minor repair on said item. It never hurts to be prepared, YouTube. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. I mean, some people take for granted simple things. Like, for me, I can just get up, and if I'm thirsty, I can grab water out of the sink, and it's clean and filtered, you know? That's something you shouldn't take for granted. But how long is this video? 17 minutes long, so it's not too terribly long. I don't want to be sitting here rambling and rambling and rambling, short, sweet, and to the point. Now, everybody knows if you've ever tried to ride a bike, the struggle to learn how to ride a bike sucked. But once you learned how to ride a bike, the satisfaction of being able to have more independence, and when the weather was warm enough to go out and ride your bike and have fun, and that freedom you gain from being able to ride a bike, that's a wonderful feeling. The struggle that you made and had to deal with learning how to ride a bike made that feeling of independence when you learn how to ride it more satisfactory. And it's like I said, that's exactly why I believe we struggle in life. Because in all actuality, do we need struggle? The answer is no. Do we need struggle? Do we need things in life that slow us down or make our life more difficult? Things that give us trial and error. Things that slow our life down. Things that make things more difficult. Shitty people and shitty situations. No, we don't. But I do believe that these things in life make us stronger people. Our scars and our battles, our sacrifices, our struggles. I believe they make us stronger people, you know? And now, if you're teaching kids to use their words instead of bully each other, you know, that sort of thing, but then mommy or daddy gets into a fender bender, and here's the thing, it takes two to make a situation. So if you're getting pissed off because the dickhead in front of you wasn't paying attention and that's why you crashed into him, and he's getting pissed off at you because you weren't paying attention, you're both basically arguing the same argument at that point. You know, so both y'alls need to pay attention in that situation. I'm just saying. It's better to be a courteous driver than it is to be a driver who's constantly in a rush. You know, because you'll find courtesy on the road spreads like butter. It only takes one person to do it. And if everyone was a bit more courteous when driving, you know, I imagine in bigger areas where there's more traffic, it's a bit more hectic. You know, there's more challenges and it's more diverse and there's more traffic. But even then, I don't care how big the area is. You know, being a courteous driver anywhere, period, is just a good thing. We tell our kids not to do drugs, but if they get a headache, here, take an aspirin. We tell our kids not to drink alcohol, but during Super Bowl Sunday, it's one beer commercial after another. You know what I'm saying? YouTube, it's ridiculous. And here's the thing about YouTube. It's obvious when you're jealous of somebody. So obvious. I see a lot of young and attractive women being attacked on social media because they're beautiful. Because other women are jealous of their beauty and then they just have this snarky attitude of, oh my gosh, she's such a bitch, look at her. And then I bet she's so shallow and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, ugh. No, it really isn't fair that attractive people get attacked for being attractive. They get this negative assumption that just because they're attractive, that must make them shallow. And it's like, you know, that's kind of an unfair assumption, dude. You know, it really is. But you know, and seriously, it's not fair that men and women get paid differently. If I had my way, there'd be more equal treatment. But I don't have my way. Sometimes you can't get your way. That's life.